Part 9 of my tips for world building a culture. Today we are adding blood to the culture for our heart to pump through the culture. Starting off with sports. Love them or hate them, every country has them, and they play massive roles in culture. In my work in progress substance, the main country Mubia, the dominant sports, are equestrian sports and a sport. Inspired by basketball that I am still buffering the ideas out on, it's highly aggressive though and has 2 hoops on both ends of the court that point to the side. It's complicated. Sports and their atmosphere influence a culture a lot, from slang to social norms. And what the people view as entertainment, if you have the Calm app, I recommend you listen to The History of Basketball. It really puts stuff in perspective on how you can make up new sports. Next, make 2 traditions and short, simple stories of why they exist. It doesn't have to be something grand. Heck, sweet potato casserole is a Thanksgiving tradition because of a very successful marshmallow campaign. Traditions can sprout from anything. In my work in progress, Fuka's Myths of Old, it's tradition in Ratum clan during the annual Rothini festival to have a storytelling contest in the town square before the grand ball. It's a fun way to pass on stories and to see who has the best public speaking skills. But you can make it anything. There are so many insane traditions around the world you can take inspiration from, and you can make literally anything a tradition in your culture for anything. Next, add in 1 cultural norm. Just 1. It can be something subtle or something common, like tipping in America, eye contact, getting drinks after work in Japan with your coworkers, in Korea, literally anything. Look at the culture you have created and ask yourself, what's something everyone is raised by default to expect in everyday social interactions? Next, explore what their stance on education is. In my work in progress, Substance, the main country of Mubia, is very disciplined. And there are 2 types of schools, traditional and a more modern type called Ratehiko, which translates directly to young pirate student. I'll get into why in a minute. Ratehiko is the closest thing you will find to schools in our world in Mubia. You start in their kindergarten and work your way up till you're 16, where Mubians graduate their school, and you can either further your education in specialized schools or start working. The traditional Mubian school, you start at 7, and it's expected that your parents taught you basic things before you came to school, like basic reading skills, writing, basic math, colors, basically everything you learn from kindergarten to about 1st grade, the basics. And because of this, there is a slight divide in races that attend different schools. Ratehiko is mostly full of humans and Inuit. There are close to no beast folk in Ratehiko schools. Beast folk make up the bulk of students in traditional schools. This boils down to the history of Mubia. You see Mubia in the time of my book technically is a new country, born from the ashes of the Kingdom of Morbia, where you get all its rich history I have talked about in this series, and the Morbian language, mixed with imprisoned pirates and the Inuit, who were animals mutated by magic. So most adult pirates in Inuit can't teach their children these basic skills because they themselves don't have them. Mubia is really big on preserving the Morbian traditions, and so beast folk, the race that made up Morbia, have these skills, thus pass them on to their children. Ratehiko didn't exist till it became apparent that many families couldn't teach their children. These basic skills, basics, and not all of them could afford a tutor. So Ratehiko is made up of almost entirely just humans and Inuit, while traditional schools are made up of mostly beast folk, and the children of either upper middle class or educated humans and Inuit. Education is a big thing for Mubia, and part of their school is actually learning how to be an apothecary. If you can't make basic medicines in Mubia, you're seen the same way as you would be if you were illiterate. Explore what your culture's stance education is, which ties into the next step. What are their views on children, both historically and in modern times? You just have to do very little effort to see how children were treated throughout history in any culture. Specifically in regards to children labor laws, marriage, and at what age are they considered adults? And does this fluctuate depending on gender or economic background? Depending on the type of media you're writing, this definitely will impact your story. especially if your main character is a child in this culture's laws. So it's best you get this information written down quickly. It will also show a glimpse into how women are treated. Let me explain. Back in the old days, when children were starting to be treated as children and not workforces, and toys started being mass-produced, there was a specific reason for the toys to prepare the children for being an adult. Of course, you had your horse-drawn carriages, rocking horses, bikes, and teddy bears. But that's not the type I am talking about. I'm talking about toy soldiers, toy doctors' kits, baby dolls, those types of toys. Baby dolls and tea sets were specifically made for preparing little girls for becoming women. The tea set in particular was for preparing them to be women in high society and attending actual afternoon teas or high teas and navigating those social circles. It's a very fascinating history. So, establishing your culture's views on children impacts how they are as adults. At this point, you could make a language, but that's optional. That brings us to my last step, which is prettying everything up. At this point, I start a Pinterest board and start expanding the concepts I've made for the culture and add in new things. That's just my basic process for my world building in a nutshell. You can take it and apply it easily in any way you like. My system in a nutshell works like this. Build a skeleton of all the things you think are the most important. Then add on muscles by extending upon each part of the skeleton, saving history for last, if you add that into your skeleton. Then you wrap it up with things that will dictate a lot of how people live their day-to-day lives and what might spark either dread or joy. Then put a heart in it, which are things that tend to convey the culture's values. Add blood, which often are influenced by or go hand in hand with whatever you decide as its heart. Then pretty it up using Pinterest and expand upon what you've built. By the time you finish the skin part, you should have a solid foundation. And by the time you get to the prettying up, you should have a solid, clear picture of your culture, its people, and how this culture will influence your characters and stories. That's all for now. Catherine out.